Hello and welcome to the WRRAP Podcast. I'm not Lee G. I'm Jamie. Lee can't be with us tonight because apparently he has an assignment to finish. I think personally he's tired and emotional after watching the 49ers lose the Super Bowl final. That's why I don't think he's with us tonight, and who can blame him? But yeah, it's not Lee tonight. It's me hosting, but we do have Harley and James with us tonight. Good evening, gents. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so you can find us on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the Sports Social Network. And if you like what we do, please rate us and leave us a good review because it all helps us to grow the pod. So let's get into it then, boys. Let's start, as we always do, with Drink of the Week. Harley, what have you got for us this week?
So I'll be honest, I bought it purely because the brewery makes me laugh every time I see it. So I've got Butcombe, Adam Henson's Rare Breed. So it's a pale ale.
I beg your pardon.
It's called Butcombe. So the blurb on the back, so it's a 3.8, so it's a nice sort of session beer when you really can't be asked. It's not every day you meet a farmer as passionate about sustainability as Adam Henson. His Cotswold-grown Maris Otter barley helps produce a seriously characterful pale ale, all within a stone's throw of Bristol. Brewed with Mendip spring water and fruity Cascade and Amarillo hops, it's refreshing, citrusy and smooth, with an amber hue. A rare breed, we wouldn't call it anything less. That's the wankiest bollocks I've ever read on a bottle.
Yes, that is wanky bollocks, isn't it? That's a new feature for the pod now. When we talk about the beers, talk about the wanky bollocks. James, have you got an alcoholic beverage for us tonight?
No alcoholic beverage. We had probably a few too many on Saturday night. There's a lovely little pub in southwest London we found for the rugby, and so a few too many IPAs there, and so I'm on the cup of tea tonight. To be honest, I got back and I haven't actually been to the shop to go get any beer. I realised I haven't actually got any in the house, but because it's only me at the minute who can drink, it's I refrain from sort of buying cans and that.
Can I ask what brand of tea are you drinking?
PG Tips. I can't afford
Good choice.
PG Tips, but it was given to me Christmas time. So yeah, absolutely PG Tips. Normally I'm a Tetley man or Yorkshire tea, but
good choices.
PG Tips currently.
Yeah, that's a good choice of tea. Fair play. Okay, so my drink of the week. Harley's gonna like this one, and guys, I don't want you giving me a hard time about this. This is the beer that I had in Beer Club a couple of weeks ago. I've got Cardiff Rugby beer. I have got 1876 Cardiff Arms Ale from Glamorgan Brewery. So I'll read out the wanky bollocks on the back of it. So are you ready for this, Harley?
Yeah, damn right.
Continue your excitement. So brewed exclusively for our friends at Cardiff Arms Park, 1876 celebrates the history of Cardiff's oldest sports ground, and apparently it causes scrums at bars up and down the country. I'm calling BS on that last statement, but yes, it's do you know what? It's a very nice ale. It's only 4.3%. They haven't had it before. I think if I was in Cardiff in a pub, but I fancied a bitter, and I saw it on draft, I think I probably would have it. It's really nice. Have you had this one before, Harley?
Yeah, I've had it in the clubhouse a couple of times. It's a fantastic pint. I mean, considering what it replaced is because it was, I think for ages it was SA. I was like, well, there's no comparison. Yeah. That stuff's amazing. It is just a really nice pint. Like if you didn't realise it was Cardiff's own beer, like most people I think would love it. I imagine some people wouldn't drink it on principle, especially James.
Is it very typically Cardiff? Like, is it very strong, so it won't push you away? But sort of has really tarty undertones to it.
There's a bit of a tarty back note to it.
Yeah. It's only 4.3%, but I gotta be honest, it is a nice ale. It's pleasant enough, but I do feel a bit dirty having a Cardiff Rugby beer. I gotta be honest. But look, that's what came after Beer Club, and I accept it.
Speaking of feeling dirty, listen to Dragon's Lair from last night, and he was trying to get rid of us. But I'm going to be having words with Gav when I see him next.
And mergers. He talked about mergers. That was not my idea. But
I haven't listened to that yet. But I definitely will be fun to listen.
He said one's too many clubs out west, so you should get rid of one.
Hey, we're not as west as the other lot.
I said to him, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I quickly moved the conversation on, and I made a joke about getting rid of Cardiff, which of course isn't going to happen, unfortunately.
Bring back
but, yeah, it's
Border
just a joke.
Reavers.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, then. That's the drinks done. Shall we move on to Newsdesk? So
Please.
Let's start with the Ospreys then. So Ospreys have signed 3 players from the Cheetahs on short-term loans. James, you're going to have to pronounce the names because I really don't want to bore this up. Tell us who the Ospreys are having there on loan.
So, first off, big shout out to @DJ Russo on Twitter, who is sort of like the go-to Cheetahs guy. He's been brilliant for years when Cheetahs were in the Pro 14 as well. He messaged me very early to say that this is happening. So these the 3 players are coming over slightly longer than the last set because there's more time in between Challenge Cup and SA Cup, stuff like that. So coming over is, I'll start off with Ivadi Boshoff. There's a great name, fantastic name. So he's an outside centre. He looks huge in his photos, but he's only 5'11", 85 kilograms, but he plays a lot, carries his weight properly. So, that much needed depth of centre. Yeah, South African Keith. Then you've got Giandre Rudolph. Again, great name. He is a number 8, can play lock as well, but plays like a fetcher and is DJ's favourite player. So he seems great as well. And then probably the most surprising one is Victor Sekatete, I think is how you pronounce it, who is the Cheetahs club captain.
Okay.
Who is an out-and-out lock, former under-20s player for South Africa. Was the captain when they won the Currie Cup this year. So, yeah, really, really surprising. We knew that we were going to get some more South African players over. In Toby Bruce's statement, he did say they tried to get Daniel Kasende back, but he's currently banned after what I assume fighting everyone in Amsterdam when they played Po. But that is glorious. The fact that they wanted Daniel Kasende back, but he's been he's banned. So yeah, brilliant that we've managed to snag some 3 experienced players, especially with our injury list looking a bit shabby. And I'll come on to the injury list later. We'll do previews. But in 3 key positions that we need to have them come over is brilliant, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying for the rest of us. You've got such a good deal partnership with Cheetahs, especially when you've got an injury crisis. The fact you just go, we'll have 3 your guys, we have the club captain, and that it's pretty good setup, isn't it? You got it.
It's good, and if you to plug my interview with Lance Bradley, he mentioned something that was very attractive to him was this Y11 multi-club deal, and whether Y11 I think have a stake in the Cheetahs or not, it's a really good thing to have, and it does open the shop window a bit better to these Currie Cup players because Scarlets have gone out and signed Marnus van der Merwe. Well, heavily rumoured to be signing Marnus van der Merwe, who we had on loan.
Yes.
Only played 1 game, but that was good enough to attract, the Scarlets to come in for it. So it is a shop window for these players as well. And, they're experienced players and they're, a lot of these boys maybe come to the twilight of their careers. And it's good. It's really good. And I hope that it continues and the rumours in the pipeline are that we're going to get some more from different part of the hemisphere. But yeah.
I'm just looking forward to Cardiff swooping over their checkbook and just taking them off you once they've seen the successful trial shift.
Well, no, because none of them are wingers.
Yeah, we've signed a winger now. It's fine. We've scratched that itch for 1 season. We're on serious players now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we are, Jimmy.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Good stuff. Let's talk about the Scarlets now then. So on the weekend, Scarlets played Exeter in a friendly, and it was in front of 8,000 plus crowd at Sandy Park. Unfortunately, though, they lost 57-19. Bit of a hammering. Now, Harley, I know you was at this game. Was Scarlets as bad as the scoreline suggests, or were there actual green shoots there for the Scarlets?
I mean, I'd argue the scoreline flattered them.
It was that bad, was it? Okay.
I'll be honest. The most fun thing about that was drinking 2 pints of inches cider because it reminded me of being 13 again. Almost every single Scarlets cliche happened in that game. Was it Sam O'Connor goes down within the first couple of minutes and broken before the scrum, which then gets wheeled backwards and then X to walk over for a try. Scott Williams gets injured, then comes back on to get injured again. The defense was soft.
Yeah.
Eddie James looked good when he came back. That was quite nice to see. Tommy Lewis, I thought actually was pretty decent with what he had. The ball didn't really go his way anywhere near as much as it should have. Yeah, I mean, considering they're probably similar level teams, they were both sort of more second 15s, a few first teamers scattered in. But yeah, the kicking wasn't great, even though it was Charlie Titcombe, who, I know Hugh and Lee have been praising a lot. It still didn't work very well. I mean, if people want my full thoughts on the game, go back on my Twitter feed because I just decided to sarcastically live tweet the whole thing.
Yeah, I saw a video today. The Scarlets put it out on their socials. Tommy Lewis try-saving tackle. Have you seen that? Well, yeah, of course he was there, but have you seen that video? It's very, very good, in fairness.
But it's very Scarlets at the minute to post a video of them giving away a cheap interception and Tommy Lewis having to track back and make a try-saving tackle on it. That's I don't want to disparage them, but that is very scary. On the Exeter thing, Will Rigg for Exeter, former Cardiff Met student, who was very, very good. Very surprised he didn't get picked up by a Welsh region. He scored 2 tries on debut for Exeter. He's one to watch out for the future, by the way. That's my hot tip from University Rugby now into pro rugby.
Okay. So, I mean, it's probably a good exercise for the Scarlets. It gives younger players an opportunity to get some game time. But with such a heavy defeat like that and the way the Scarlet season's panning out, you have to wonder if this does more harm than good, isn't it? It doesn't do anything for confidence or momentum going into this weekend off the back of another hammering. But so tough afternoon here for the Scarlets. And staying with the Scarlets, more bad news for them. So according to Midi Olympique, Montpellier is set to sign Veya Fifita from the Scarlets. I didn't realise his elder brother actually is playing in the top 40 as well, plays for Oyonnax. So that's going to be a big loss for the Scarlets. It will free up some budget, some space in their budget, but it's a big loss for them. So that's not confirmed yet. That's just what's been doing the rounds on Rugby Pass and Midi Olympique. So we'll wait and see on that. But it does look like they're going to lose him and Lousy, doesn't it? So 2 big losses. They've been good players for the Scarlets.
Midi Olympique are very rarely wrong.
Yeah, they're quite reliable, aren't they? They are quite reliable. So we'll just wait and see when that gets confirmed. In other news that's broken today then, so the WRU have named 9 of the 10 teams that will compete in the new elite domestic competition next season. So this new league will sit above the Welsh Premiership and is seen by the WRU as a major development to improve the game in Wales. So as you guys know, there's been a big debate in Wales about that gap. How do we narrow the gap from semi-pro to pro? And this new competition is designed to do just that. So the clubs that will be joining this new league in September 2024 will be Aberavon, Bridgend Ravens, Carmarthen Quins, Ebbw Vale, Llandovery, Newport, Pontypool, Swansea and RGC. The 10th club is yet to be announced, but we expect that to be Cardiff. That's the rumours at the moment that Cardiff are going to be that 10th club. Do any of you have any thoughts on this new competition then and the teams announced? Any thoughts?
To quote Al Murray in one of his stand-up sets before, when he said, tried to explain the conflict in the Middle East, and he said, every time I try to explain it, it gets more complicated. That's how I feel about the EDC. I just know that there are some teams in it. There are not some teams in it. Some people like it, some people don't. The clubs all feel that it's a really good opportunity for them. And who am I to say no? Because I am just a man on a podcast, who knows nothing about the inner workings of running a semi-professional / professional rugby club. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. Harley, any other thoughts on the new league?
Other than just want to say, I'm going to go see it. Actually, going to go see Almo in a couple of weeks when he's in Bath. But
nice link.
But I heard the quote and I knew, and I was like, yeah, it really is. I feel like they all the way from the start, they've not been clear of what they want, what the WRU wanted from these clubs. I mean, that was one of the biggest complaints from Merthyr, Ponty and Cardiff, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're keen." No, we're not. And then we are, but maybe we're not. But we are. But no, I'm just like, guys, just pick a lane. Let's just say, if you're interested, go for it. If you're not, fine. Go dominate the Premiership. Now pretty much all the big teams have gone. I mean, it'd be stupid if we didn't have some form of Cardiff representation, whether it's Cardiff, Ponty, or Merthyr.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they don't want to do it because they don't see the financial value, when they say you've got to keep a budget of, you've got to be able to sustain the squad of this much, plus have the staff, plus you might lose your players to be called up to the pro game. And I think it's only going to be played during the autumn international Six Nations windows. Remember rightly, that was the initial plan. So it's not that many games that you can actually get people into your grounds. So would they then have to run a Premiership team as well, just to keep the funding going? Yeah, it's just not being very clear. Personally, I think it would have been better if we just sort of all the 4 pro teams had like 2 clubs each. They've had 2 development teams. You remember like the A League, that sort of was there for like a season, then we had COVID, and then that was it.
Yeah. I think with this competition, it's one of those, the proof is in the pudding. Let's see how it goes. But it's absolutely, we need a league that narrows that gap, because we've said for a long time, the Welsh Premiership is not quite narrowing the gap between semi-pro and URC, and we need something in place. So I'm in favour of it. I know it's caused a lot of controversy, but we need to do something, I think. And I think this is the right way to go. But like I said, the proof's in the pudding, and we just need to see how it develops. Okay, I don't have any other news. Do you guys have any other news?
No.
Okay then. James, you got some beef for us this week? Or bants?
Yeah.
Beef or bants?
It's beef or bants. It's beef for me.
Okay.
Wales under-20s played England under-20s on Friday night at the Rec. Or might as well have been the Bridgend Stadium, the Brewery Field, because that pitch is not up to standard. I'm sorry.
It wasn't good, was it?
That whole stadium for years has been that not up to standard, and that pitch on Friday showed. It did take all my willpower not to tweet like the Cardiff Central Pod like sarcastic memes about the pitch, because
because obviously we do maintain the Rec. Yeah, I mean that's a fair person to call out.
You had plenty to say about Owen. Anyway, Lucas De La Rua has struggled on 2 pitches now. Anyway, but that's not my beef. My beef is with England number 7 and captain Mr. Henry Pollock,
and man of the match,
Henry Pollock, who was fantastic, and
he was very good.
He's a fantastic player, right?
There's a but coming,
yeah, he is a complete and utter sausage. Like
sausage.
What an unbearable bloke. Like the England under-20 lads were clearly told that in breaks and play to like G up the crowd and stuff like that, and it just came across as cringe and awful and the way like Johnny Green manhandled him in the first half, and he's like pointing in someone's face, saying, I was just you have all the raw physical attributes to be, I think, like a future international player, right? And you're playing in a really, really good under-20s team, and you're going around doing stuff like that. And then, but you also have the backing of certain popular rugby Twitter accounts who have tweeted about you 11 times in 1 week. It just came across as very, very cringy and very weird. And I have it on good authority that Wales under-20s players did not enjoy it, and did not take well to him. So that was my beef or banter, depending on what you were. I suppose the best bit of banter was that Richie Reese's mic was muted for the first 8 minutes of the game, and long may it continue. To be honest, yeah, that was a weird old game. The Amy Barrett Theron, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed one was weird.
Yeah, that's caused a lot of reaction on social media. So some people said, he was really good and she dealt with it well, but a lot of people felt that she was being patronising towards it. Where do you two sit on that?
It just came across as a bit weird. Like, it came across as like very schoolmaster. You've been told off for fighting in the, or for like stealing each other's Pokemon cards in the playground. Like all it needed was, lads, let's not, there's no need for that. Cool, play on with whatever the decision was. It's very Nigel Owens. That'll be in an Andrew Ford compilation very soon. Yeah. I wasn't a fan, and I wasn't a fan of her refereeing or interpretation of a lot of things. But that was an isolated incident. That was weird. Harley?
The breakdown was a free-for-all, though, wasn't it? An absolute free-for-all. So many players just coming in at the sides. It was just awful. Sorry, Harley, what are your thoughts on that?
I thought the initial... the actual comment for the first bit of the question, I thought actually it just made me chuckle quite a bit. I thought it was quite funny. But yeah, you're right. The breakdown was a bit...
Oh, it was all over the place.
I mean, at least you can argue at least she was consistent by the fact that anything went. But then if one team's trying to play one way and then the other team just like, great, I can take the piss, then you go. But there was definitely one or two situations where I think it might have been the England 10 got the turnover because he blocked the cleaner because he came in through the Wales side of the gate, picked up the ball and then went over and then forced the non-holding non-penalty. Right. That's just so patently not right.
The one that got me, and this is the one that broke, if you know Squidge, he doesn't complain about referees. But in the group chat for the Ospreys Irie, he said this is effing bullshit. Was when Freddie Chapman was pinged for not rolling away and affecting the clear out when he wasn't even in the ruck. He'd rolled away. And it was, I put in the chat, that's incredibly harsh. And then he commented something a lot more profound. The whole Amy Barrett Theron thing, I think she had a relatively poor game. I don't think she'll ref like that again.
Yeah, for someone who is an incredibly good referee, I don't think it was the best she's ever gone.
But no, that was my beef and banter this week. It was that Wales under-20s game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I watched the game on BBC iPlayer. And I listened to the commentary of Nick Heath and Philippa Tuttiett, who were very, very good. Really, really good. Nick Heath, I think, is one of the best in the business. He's really good. And Philippa Tuttiett, who's been on the WRRAP Pod, by the way. Really good summariser.
I listened to it for Dave Rogers. I suppose the English comms, because Dave Rogers is one of, if not the best in the game at the minute as a play-by-play, I think. Yeah. And I love Nick Heath. I love Jamie Lyle. But I think it's because I've listened to Dave Rogers since he was doing Bucks Super Rugby stuff. So I have a bit more affinity. There.
Affinity.
Yeah. Right, that's right. Quid in the swear jar.
Yeah.
Okay then. Thank you for that, James, for your beef. Right then, boys, let's get into it then. England-Wales. So it finished England 16, Wales 14. Ben Earl scored England's first try. Wales responded with a penalty try and fair play, an excellent try from Alex Mann. That gave us a 14-5 lead at half-time, looking really good. But then a try from Fraser Dingwall and the boot of George Ford, who controlled the game very well, I have to say, gave England another narrow win in this competition. So that means that Wales are now played 2, lost 2. They're 5th in the table with 3 points. Now, let's be honest, we weren't fancied coming into this game. I don't think many people gave Wales a chance. I was pleased with the performance, but I have to say, I was also disappointed because to me, it felt like an opportunity lost. The way that we let that game slip away in the second half, and complete contrast to the Scotland game, where we scored all our points in the second half. you know, and on the weekend there, we scored all our points in the first half. So I found that a little bit frustrated. But let's start with you then, James. Was that an opportunity missed on the weekend?
Yes, in the context of they were down to 13 men at one point and we came out of that 7 points down. Because Ben Hill scored during that time.
Yeah.
They had Sam Underhill at second row and brought in, I think, Fraser Dingwall on the flank, and they got the shove on, and Ben Hill goes over, and it was soft tackling all around, but we shouldn't have been in that position anyway. It depends on which way you look at it, right? I had no expectation coming into this game. I didn't think we'd get near England on the scoreboard. And that's not to say England are a good team. I just didn't think we'd get anywhere near. I thought that we essentially used up all our good karma against Scotland in the second half. But then coming to the end of it, you probably thought, yeah, we probably could have sneaked that. And I think that comes down to not having a game controller at fly half. That's ultimately where we lost the game. That game changed for me, or that game was lost when George Ford hit that 50-22. That was where the game was lost for me.
Yeah,
it was a
and that's where the try
play.
came from, didn't it? The try came from that, I believe. Yeah.
And when you don't have a game controller at 10, unfortunately, you're not going to get over the line in these games. And I think Ewan Lloyd probably had the worst. He was the worst of the 23, or at least the starting 15. And he had his moments, but for me, I'm not singling him out as he's the reason we lost. But I think you could put, if you had anyone else in there, even a Costello, a Patchell, a Priestland, do you know what I mean? We win that. That's the trade-off you have, unfortunately. And he kicked it away in the last minute. I know Thomas did the same as well. Got charged down off a box kick, but look, these things happen. It is growing pains. It's really good to see penalty try get the call up from the Ospreys. He's been a solid player for us over the years. I think he's the top try scorer now. What else have I got down? I've got Alex Mann is growing into that jersey really well, and it's a shame because we've got so many good back rowers now, and the whole Jack Morgan's got to come back into this team, and where does he go? Because Tommy Raffel's playing so well. Then you add in Alex Mann, Tane Plumtree, Aaron Wainwright, Tane Basham. There's so many, they're still international standard players. From an Ospreys point of view, George North and Gareth Thomas, instant impact. I thought Gareth Thomas was the unsung hero of the Welsh pack on the weekend.
Good to have him back, wasn't it? Yeah.
He's solid in the scrum, carries well, just all around great. And then George North was back to probably his best game for Wales in good while. I'll mention him for you, Jamie. Elliot D was fantastic.
I was going to come on to Elliot later, but fine.
9 from 9 in the line out, hitting. And that's in junction with the call as well from Beard, Jenkins. Wales went to front a lot with Jenkins. They played it banker ball, very safe.
It worked.
But it paid off. Yeah. I've got to give a shout out to the Adam Beard miss pass. Floating a 15-metre miss 2 off turnover ball. Like I said on Twitter, if Finn Russell did that, there'd be a dissertation written on it. It was glorious, but no, I just think it was the 10 and the bench that probably lost us the momentum to go on and potentially win that. I wouldn't say we would have won that game, but it definitely stifled the momentum.
Okay, Harley, do you agree with that?
Yeah, a lot of it. I just wanted to go back to particularly the game management. I think the game was lost actually in that period. We were up at least 1, if not 2 players. I just want to go because I actually went and had a look and timed it because because obviously when we were down to 12 players in the summer, we had this issue where England were able to control the momentum of the game. So 11:41, Chesham gets his yellow. We then take the line out at 11:59, and then the ball gets kicked away, goes into touch. Now England knock it on, ball in, we win the scrum penalty. And that line out goes to touch, and that's then at 15:51. So that's already 4 minutes of the yellow card gone.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so penalty try. Some people are arguing, well, there are England players on the ball. Well, they're part of why it was collapsing the league lately. So this is not that. So Roots get sent off 16:45. So that's about 5 minutes in. So now we're looking at only 5 minutes in. But then it takes 30 seconds for the restart. Then another 30 seconds of Wales dicking about in their own 22, which causes Ioan Lloyd to get absolutely melted under the posts. And England get the scrum because they're going forward at a ruck. We could have booted that ball out and we'd have been 30 metres out before this scrum.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't go in then. So it's 17:43 the scrum's awarded. 17:05 the ball goes in and they score the try at 19:11. And then the conversion, by the time George has finally dicked about in this conversion, Wales do a restart at 20 minutes, 47 seconds. The England clear the ball pretty much quickly away. Again, we spend so much time dicking about and we end up going 40 metres back, but we've got a penalty. Now, this would have been the perfect opportunity to kick for the points. It was in their half. Ioan Lloyd has kicked this range, but instead he goes for the scrum. They go for the line out, the kick to touch. Chesham comes back on, so we're back up to 14. So that's that. It's been just over 11 minutes now. They try and do a line out move, which ends in Tompkins offloading the ball to Dyer, but goes forward. Scrum, they clear, great. Anyway, we go through all this, and then by the end of it, Roots comes back on at 28 minutes and 4 seconds. So we've had at least one player down for 17 minutes, of which the score is 7-5. That is shocking on terms of game management, right? This is the reason why people like myself and Hugh Griffin have been saying Ioan Lloyd is not a 10 yet, if he ever will be. This is where we are really missing a bigger and Anscombe, a patch. Even Costello would have known. Let's just take the 3 points. We've lost some momentum here. We've got by conceding that try. Let's wrestle some back. Let's just play the percentages. Even after that try, we've just scored. Let's get up there as quickly as possible. I know our kicking game's not been great, so we kicked one more time than England, but England kicked for there was an extra 100-odd metres more. We do not have people who can kick the distance. We do not have a James Lowe who can just punt it. So we need to be a lot cleverer when, with our kicking. And I know everyone's saying, no, we need to be throwing the ball wild, but that's how you end up stuck underneath your own fucking posts. And I'll be honest, I was in a bad mood watching this game because I'd just seen the Scarlets game. And I basically driven back. We had to watch on catch up, skipping through, and I just went, "This is fucking appalling game in terms of game." And the one thing we praised last week was the bench and the impact they had, and if anything, it was a negative impact when they came on this time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, England's bench made a difference, didn't they?
I do. I do want to pick up the thing. So obviously, you made the point of Elliot D, despite having probably one of his best games I've actually seen him play in either shirt. He comes off at 53rd minute because Gatland decides to make a double substitution of taking off Kieran Azarati, who's been playing well, and Elliot D, so that he can bring on. And it's more because Gatland wanted to give Archie Griffin about half an hour more than the thing. So, but obviously then he's like, well, this is a new kid in international, so let's put the best scrummaging hooker. And he wasn't actually very good at that either.
No, the scrum got worse. It got considerably worse.
And look, I don't want to single out Elias, right, because he is getting a lot of slack, and there is rightly so. So there's two, and Lee has there's two things he wanted to talk about tonight. Was apparently it wasn't an overthrow and it went through beer tens. I'm not going to argue. I can't be asked to go watch it. It's 5 pints deep.
Not straight as well. One of
not
those
straight.
Not straight, which you can blame. You can blame the hooker for that. Okay.
and it is becoming inexcusable now. And the Scarlets fans on Twitter saying, "Oh, Lake doesn't get slated. Lake gets slated probably even more.
He does. Yeah.
And
yeah,
and
not good.
I've watched Lake since his debut, right? He's a converted back rower. Let's not forget this. And Ospreys have spent well over 10 grand getting him a specialist line-out coach, throwing coach, who worked with England. Yeah, he worked with England in 2003 World Cup. He worked in Australia, and his darts have been brilliant this season. He's had better stats than Elias, and it's just unfortunate he's picked up an injury. At what point?
Can I get that guy's number? Ask him for Cardiff.
At what point does Warren Gatland have to turn around and say, "This is getting ridiculous now"? Because that not straight, it's a regular occurrence now. I'll give you the 50-50 on was it an overthrow, was it going through Beard's hands, whatever. I'll give you that. I'm not going to argue that one because I can't be asked to go back and watch it. But that not straight, and it wasn't even like it's slightly not straight, and it's down to interpretation. It was well on the Wales side, but that's a symptom of the whole bench. So Archie Griffin came on, didn't do a whole lot. Who was the replacement? Lucy, was it Domachowski?
Yeah, Domachowski, but he came on.
He's coming on against Dan Cole in a backward scrum anyway because he's getting Archie Griffin's head pushed up his ass by Genge.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't started a game for Bath, Archie Griffin. Let's not forget that. And you're asking him to come up against Ellis Genge.
And
there's only going to be one outcome then.
Right.
I'd have put the loose heads the other way around, personally. Not because I think Gareth Thomas is a worse player, but if anything, it's because I think he's a better player. And I'd rather have him with a debutant tight head against Dan Cole.
I don't think the plan was to have Archie Griffin.
I think it was going to be Leon Brown, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's what they wanted.
I think that was the original thinking, was that Archie Griffin wasn't supposed to play. So I get why Gatland's done it. But ultimately, Will Rowlands came on. I thought was fine. He did Will Rowlands.
I don't think he had the same impact as Teddy Williams did, though. But then again, is that because no one else had the impact? I don't think Basham did anything either when he came on.
Yeah, just going back there to Elliot D there when James returned. So for me, you can't expect them to do a full 80 minutes. So that wasn't my, argument. But I just think the decision to take him off at 54 minutes, along with Azarati, for me was not the right call at that particular time. It felt too early. So, for me, that was a big mistake by Gatland. I think they should have done at least another 10, 15 minutes. And that was my issue, really, just take them off far too early. I thought Azarati did pretty well against Joe Marler, in all fairness. I think he's growing into that free jersey now, and fair play to him. But, it was just, I didn't think it was the right call. I'm not a fan of Ryan Elias. I'll be open and honest about that. I understand why he's in the Wales team. I get it. This is scrummaging, his work around the park. But it's become an issue now for a long time. His throwing in, he doesn't hit his targets. And we know with the line-out, there are many different components to it. It's not just about the thrower. We know that. But this has been happening for years now, and it's getting really frustrating. And I think going forward, I don't know if you agree with me, I think Elliot now has to keep that starting jersey now going forward, because he has been fantastic. And even Warren Gatland said after the game that they lost accuracy when he came off, and he praised him, said he was outstanding on the weekend. He was really good off the bench. But has Elliot D now deserved that number 2 jersey going forward, Ali, for you?
I think so, and it'd be a hell of a debut against Ireland. But do you give Evan Daniel a run? Just because actually, sorry, Evan Lloyd. Sorry, not the wrong Evan. God, I'm gonna get slated by the Cardiff.
You've done that a couple of times, haven't you?
I always get played wrong, mate. But yeah,
I know.
Lloyd, I know he's very new. He's very new, but actually, when he has played for Cardiff, I think he had one wobbly throw on his debut. Like up against the Bulls pack, it was a slight non-squit, and then he's been fine whenever he's been asked again since. And it's like, and he is almost like a sort of, he's probably the closest we've got of all the fit and available hookers to Derry Lake. Again, converted 8 very physical, very good over the ball. Do we need to? Yeah, and I do wonder, is it? Let's be honest, we are not doing anything in this championship now. And I think it's going to be all guns. We're going to have to put pretty much everything on that Italy game to not get a wooden spoon. But I mean, you did have a point that we could lose every game and still not finish 6th.
If we keep accumulating bonus points, that's what will happen. So I got a question for you then. Right? Let's go back to Johan Lloyd. So I thought it was a mixed bag from Johan Lloyd because some of his kicking out of hand was pretty good. I mean, he's getting a lot of joy from those cross-field kicks. But the problem for me was some of his decision-making was incredibly naive. You mentioned it earlier, getting caught in possession, Mario Toji turning him over, trying to run it out for his own 22. If that's Dan Bigger, that ball's going off the park. There's no hesitating. Dan would kick that ball out, but Johan tried to run it, got caught. The hospital pass to Gareth Thomas. Some of his decision-making for me was just very naive and inexperienced. But what would you expect with someone who's making just his 4th cap and his first start at 10? But as much as people mock... Exactly. But as much as people... So here's the question then. As much as people mock Kai Evans, right? I'm a big fan of Kai Evans. He does get mocked a lot by supporters and certain podcasts. Is there an argument to say that he should have come on a lot sooner? Because Gatlin brought him on for less than a minute. Would you have brought him on sooner than that?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I will
gone on after the Dingwall try for me.
I will put my hands up and say that I was never a big fan of Kai Evans when he was coming up through the academy. He was not. He was very positionally abused, so he was brought through as a 10 in the academy and was not. Yeah, should have been a 15. Start playing 15 for the Ospreys. Oh my God, this guy's actually really good. He's got a cannon of a boot on him from the tee and out of hand, and I think that could have genuinely worked in our favour. What was the best way to counter Freddie Stewart? Right, is you don't kick the ball too directly to him. Make him work. Make him. That's what Kai Evans could have done for me. I get why Gatlin hasn't brought him on in that sense, because he's the 3rd choice 10 and he's probably not a naturalised 10, but he should have absolutely come on because Johan Lloyd was stinking up the gaff, and he's that was I'd be very annoyed if I was Kai and a Dragons supporter, to be honest, because he's been very underutilised there.
But like I said, I think it was a mixed bag from Johan Lloyd. The tackle, the weak tackle on Ben Earl, that did annoy me. And I said at the group, you got to do better than that. If you're playing Test match rugby, I know, like Lee was saying, well, Alex Mann should have covered him and brought him down fine. But in international 10, I expect you to make your one-up tackle. So that was disappointing. He did get a lot of criticism for kicking the ball away in that final minute. But then I saw a tweet from Sam Larner. At the time, I was quite annoyed. But then Sam Larner did make a good point. Well, Wales were going nowhere. We weren't getting over the gain line, so he had no option but to kick. But I think it was the execution, rather than the kick. What would you think of that?
It's the one where Rio Dyer gets tackled into touch whilst he's still in the air by George Ford, who decides to turn backwards and lean into him. Again, I think Kai Evans should have been caught on, probably from the Dingwall try, because I think that was a sign momentum's gone. We need to do something to change it. All right. And Kai Evans and Kieran Hardy, to me, don't scream impact subs. But they are, for the people we've got in those positions, they are the level-headed ones. They are the ones who can put excellent distance on the kick, are usually quite accurate. Frankly, I wish we had Ruben Morgan Williams in the squad. But James will say no Ospreys. He doesn't want any Ospreys in the Wales team. So no
Ospreys players deserve to go in the squad, to be honest. They've been a bit crap this season.
They're 8th in the URC. They're many times better than any of ours. We can keep having this argument, but let's face it, it doesn't matter. I think if we'd been kicking, it got to that point where we really needed to start playing the territory a lot better. Especially because that Dingwall try, that put us to the point we were then only a point ahead and we hadn't scored. And I feel, as I've made my feelings clear, that I feel like we should have been kicking to touch. We should have gone for posts when we had chances in the first half. I mean, and let's be fair, England didn't give us a lot of chances of that because they only conceded 7 penalties. We conceded 5, and I think all 5 of ours were in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, I think like we basically lost the momentum of the running game. England were closing that down quite well. They'd rallied after half time. And having someone like Kyle who can just boot it miles, might have actually made it, and the thing with Freddie Stewart is he knows where you're going to kick it if you're box kicking constantly. If you're setting up for a box kick, quickly throw it out and you get to 13 and boot it downfield, he's in the wrong place. Or if you can do a DuPont and switch your foot. But I mean, when Freddie Stewart catches these balls, the one thing no one ever points out is he catches it and then is tackled. There's usually very little movement anyway. So if you can get a good chase and get that line, they're just going to boot it back anyway. So I wouldn't really.
I think the issue is that when we're kicking to the throat, if you look at that first one, the chase isn't good enough. The first up tackle doesn't go through. So essentially, what happens is the first up tackle is missed, and then he hits that gap between Beard and whoever it was. And that's not that. In essence, they should be the secondary tacklers in that point because someone else has made that first up tackle against Freddie Stewart. Freddie Stewart's only he catches the ball really well, so he's 9 times out of 10 going to beat someone. He's going to beat someone in the air, right? The chase should be good enough. He lands, he gets tackled. That's that's essentially what you're making kicks compete. And actually, if you're going to play that game, you start Kieran Hardy. Or you bring him on at 56, 60 minutes and then just, put it up in the sky, have Rio Dyer chase it. That's what you do. You don't leave Thomas on for that long. I'll question the tactics of it. I do think Wales look better. You can see what they're trying to do. You can see how they worked on that, on how to exploit that Felix Jones blitz. You can see that in the Alex Mann try. Running that. Tommy Rafael runs that lovely line. And questions have been asked about Tommy Rafael's attacking ability, right? In the past. He's very much been a one-trick pony. He doesn't carry a lot for Leicester, doesn't make a lot of meters. I thought he attacked really well. He beat 5 defenders on the weekend.
Yeah. I had to have it written down in my notes. We all associate Tommy Rafael being that breakdown and menace in his defensive work, which of course he is. But on Saturday, we saw him carry a lot, didn't we? And beating defenders. It was really pleasing to see, actually. So there is another side of his game as well. Like you said, he's not the one-trick pony. Tommy Rafael, by the way, Wales' best player so far this Six Nations.
Oh, absolutely. He's got, but the thing with Tommy Rafael now, he's got to back this up and show that he can carry. Because if he wants to be Wales' first choice number 7, he's got to oust Jack Morgan, who's probably one of the best carriers in Wales, forward or back. And Jack Morgan is effective at the breakdown. He is an effective tackler as well. So Tommy Rafael has to continue that trend if he wants to be Wales' number 1. And there's a lot of debate about whether he should start alongside Jack Morgan, which you won't go into because the unnamed BBC show did that.
I was going to say I have my 2 cents on that, but if we're not going to go into it, then I'll save it for another pod.
Can I just get a quick word on Rio Dyer? Oh, go on then.
Actually, I think you were just about to go into it. I was going to say Rio Dyer again is one of the most essential parts of the Welsh game plan, which I guess has happened when everyone started moaning about him being on the wrong wing and then realising all our kickers kick towards the left and having that sort of speed and that. Actually, he's getting a lot better defensively as well.
Yes. I was just about to talk about Rio Dyer. So for me now, and I'm not talking about a Dragons perspective here, just as a Wales fan, he is now becoming a key player in this Wales team. His work rate now is off the charts. And yes, as a winger, we want him to score tries, but it's the work you do off the ball as well as when you have the ball is just as important. Like, you go back to that first half, the cross kick. That could have easily been a try. I thought Rio did very well to compete in the air and save that. That was a certain try. Good awareness of the laws, preventing George Ford converting England's first try. A lot of controversy about that.
It's cut and dry for me.
Beating it, that was part of his movement. He made it part of it, and fair play to him. Good awareness. He had nothing to lose. Tried it. It came off. Elliot D as well, just kicking the ball off the tee and made me laugh. And he just looked a threat, didn't he, every time he got the ball. And I know there's some people who are still sort of questioning Rio Dyer, but I just say to him again, I'm not being biased here, but I think you need to pay more attention and watch what he's actually doing for Wales, because he's working his bollocks off every single game, that boy. And
You can see
he's really growing as an international player.
The evolution for me is brilliant. So when it's that break in the second half where when it hits that lovely line, gives it to Rio. In another 10 caps, Rio either backs himself and goes on the outside and scores that, or he a bit earlier takes that step back inside and gives the pass. Because there was people inside, I know English defenders were tracking, but actually he gives himself a better opportunity. So in 5-10 caps time, that's a try for Wales. And that's really encouraging to see. Because I wasn't overly convinced by Rio Dyer initially in a Wales jersey. And I think that was fair to say. I think he didn't set the world on fire like Josh Adams
that's
did.
fair. Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
And then, but actually he is, at the minute, there's three... there's two people who are essential. There's three people on that team sheet who go down straight away. That's Cam Winnett, Aaron Wainwright, and Rio Dyer for me. They are Gatland's first three on the team sheet currently. And I thought Wainwright had one of his quieter games.
He had a good game. I thought Wainwright was pretty dynamic.
But quieter than what it was. Oh, that's upset Harley.
I'm sure he'll be back with us.
Yeah, there he is. But yeah, no, they are the most essential for me. But Rio is excellent, and I really want him to carry that momentum on into #Ireland Week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ali, I got a question for you now. Josh Adams, now we had a bit of a debate, didn't we? He did not have a good game against Scotland. We could all agree on that. How do you think his performance went this week?
I disagree with him not having a good game. He did one stupid thing against Scotland, and that's all people read for. Actually, when the ball's not going to you, you can't do anything with it. But I thought, his defensive position was actually right. This game, again, I thought it was all right. It's not the Josh Adams of old. I do think the big issue is he shows up a lot more and is a lot more effective when he's on the left wing. But as we've discussed, Rio Dyer is so good on the left wing. So, Josh Adams has pulled to the right. A lot of people talking about that breakdown field, and, he should have passed the ball to Dyer, but then that was covered, and then maybe he should check. He did seem a bit indecisive.
Yeah, he was caught in two minds.
I am wondering if basically he's had quite, he's struggled with his injuries this season, and he's not really had a lot of game time. So I don't know if that's something playing on his mind.
There's a lot of talk about his fitness. Do you think he looks 100% fit?
No.
No, does he?
But I feel like Gatland thinks that a 75-80% fit Josh Adams is a better bet than Tom Rogers or sticking Mason and Grady, who's a bit who is quite untested on the wing. Although he did get moved up. Although he did come on for Josh Adams late on before the
I thought it was quite early.
What I think was a deliberate knock-on call, and he was definitely going for the intercept.
Here we go.
Definitely no way was he going to knock.
He played basketball with it, Harley.
It was a yellow card. Right decision, penalty try. It was not a penalty try. It was a yellow card.
Blue and black.
Yeah, take your CF10 specs off.
It was a yellow card, of course it was. Right decision, by the way. It was not a penalty try, because I've seen people on Twitter saying, should have been a penalty try. No, because there was cover there, but it was a yellow card. If you stick your arm up like that, you're always going to be in trouble. You're always going to incur the wrath of the referee. You're in trouble there. But yeah.
But
Can I just have a quick word
in itself? I actually think that was a good yellow card to give away for Mason. I know eventually we lost, but I think England would have scored in a few phases. I don't think they would have scored directly off of that, but I think we were getting stressed.
Okay. Quick word on Cam Winnett. That was only his 17th professional game. I'm blown away by this kid. He just looks so cool, so composed. He never puts a foot wrong. That 15 jersey, that's his now, isn't it? But is it fair to say that is his jersey for a considerable period of time in Wales, because I just think he's brilliant.
Yes, because there's no one else to take it off. Kai Evans is the only one. And I think
Yeah.
Kai in this system works better as coming off the bench. There's no other fullback in Wales who is going to take that off him because there are no other fullbacks. Max Nagy, if he can play for Wales, offers something, but he doesn't offer the stability I think Winnett has. I think Nagy still probably needs a season to be. I think he could genuinely be really good. I think maybe he'll be like 10 caps good, but Winnett has the potential to be proper 100 cap international for me. There's a bit of the, and I don't want to hype up. There's a bit of the Hugo Keenan about him. In that he just does everything really solidly, hits the line really well, obviously takes his high balls. You probably maybe want to stress him a bit more defensively and see what he's like.
He plays for Cardiff. He is stressed defensively.
Yeah. That's because he's a defence coach for 5 days a week. But yeah, I think he's a very different player from Lee, in that Lee wasn't the attacking threat that maybe people wanted him to be consistently throughout the years. I think Lee had his moments, but not consistently an attacking threat. He was the best defensive fullback in world rugby for years and years and years. I just don't win it off. He is like the Welsh Hugo Keenan in that sense. But there's no one to take the jersey off him.
I'd be very impressed. I think he's great. I really do. For a young man, he's just so much composure and coolness. That's what I really admire about him. Right. Do we have any further thoughts on this game before we move on?
Dan Biggar's a very good pundit.
Yes, isn't he? Yeah.
That doesn't.
I didn't. I had to watch it afterwards because I was in pub and didn't have the set. But I remember Dan Biggar doing, when he was injured for the Ospreys years ago, he did a Sky Sports punditry one when they did like the Pro 14, or it was Europe, with Alex Payne and Scott Cornell, I think it was. And he was very, very good then. And and he was probably the best of a bad bunch on that panel, actually, because I thought I don't rate Roberts as a pundit. I never rated Delalio and Johnny Wilkinson as the most boring man to ever exist.
But how good is it not to see Sir Clive Woodward on our screens now on ITV? Oh, for me, that's a complete breath of fresh air. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
He was really good.
Let's look ahead. We got Ireland next. Josh Adams described it. No, it's a quick question. We're not going to do an in-depth dive. I just ask a quick question, right? So Josh Adams described it as a monumental task, which is an understatement, let's be honest. And I know I'm clutching the straws here, but do any of you see any areas of potential weakness in Ireland's game that Wales can exploit?
How susceptible are they to poison?
If we can give them all COVID.
Yeah. No, no, if I'm honest.
That's a two-parter question. So for me, the first part is, are there areas they're susceptible? Yes. Andrew Porter is being found out at the scrum. Can Wales exploit it? No. is the short answer to that. I don't think we've got the pack, and certainly not the props, who are attacking enough. I feel like the thing is, like, if we had a Nicky Smith equivalent of a tight head who just wants to go and attack every single scrum,
what I was about to say.
We would, we could seriously do it. But I think, Gareth Thomas is a fantastic loose head prop, but he's very good at just holding his own. I know he does get penalties out of his opposition, but it's usually because the other player tries something and he can hold out most.
But that's not
a very solid. He's very good at just keeping as a cornerstone. Same as Tom Francis was. Neither were particularly aggressive props.
I agree. Gareth, Andrew Porter is there to be found out, but we don't have the personnel to go and find him out. There isn't a Wales player who walks into an Ireland 23, let alone a 15. Unfortunately, that's the tail of the tape.
Well, then Adam Pearce for James Ryan, but
Well, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want a British and Irish test line in there? Yeah, they're just brilliant, and didn't concede a point on Saturday. Barely had any 22 entries. Simon Easterby is going to go down as, I think, one of the great coaches. Sarah's husband is brilliant at he's just so effective, and they've just got Joe McCarthy is just ridiculous, man.
What a bastard in all the ways.
What a player! You just and then they've got Finley Beelum, who I really like. You've got that horrible fucking James Lowe, who I just, as a face, I just want to punch. And I will come on to Fantasy League in a minute because he screwed me out of fucking 4th place. But just to be able to be like, yeah, we're going to pass it along our backline in the 22, willy-nilly. So James Lowe has a cannon of a left boot and he's just going to go, grow up. It's boring. No, so I don't think we have any. Andrew Porter is the obvious one in the scrum, but there is no way we're going to do it. They're masters of the dark arts in the line out, in the breakdown, in the scrum. I can't see anything other than Ireland by 20, if I'm honest.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. We'll do a deeper dive on our Ireland game probably next week. So you mentioned Fantasy League there, James. Do you want to give us an update? Who's winning? Who's hot? Who's not?
So I hate. This is why I hate James Lowe now, because I was just before they announced the man of the match, right? I had the biggest points gain from the weekend. I was sitting in 4th, loving life, and then they go and announce James Lowe as man of the match, and that obviously, there was a few people who are obviously at the top now who had James Lowe captained. I had captained Dan Sheehan, which I thought was brilliant. He scored 2 tries. The week before, I captained Duan. So I'll go into the top 5. So in first, climbing a massive 7 places, is Morgan Dobbin with 788 points.
Good stuff.
In second place is Seo. I'm sure I'm going to say it. Climbing 2 with 785. Third, dropping down 1 place, is Nathan Long with 780. Fourth is Josh L, who has climbing 2 places, 772. And then In It to Win It drops to 5th, drops down a place. The biggest climbers this week, I can see Proppenheimer climbed 15 places up to 7th. Gareth Ward climbed 14 places up to 9th. I am sitting in 17th, climbing 3 places, 709 points. Boys, what were your team's name again?
Jamie, my name is Jamie.
Yours is
my
Jamie.
My team name is Jamie.
I might have to go down here somewhere.
I should be above you, actually. I
think you are.
I checked earlier.
You are. You're 13th. You climbed 5 places this week.
The Irish boys did very well for me.
The Irish boys did very well.
Because I had Crowley as captain, I had Dan Sheehan, I had James Lowe, and I had McCarthy. So it was the Irish boys that gave me some good points.
Harley, what was your name?
I'm not doing it because none of you are good enough to beat me at the moment. So, I mean, okay. I absolutely walked. I walked the Six Nations last year, and I walked the World Cup. So, I mean, when you lot are a challenge, then I might do it again.
So, I can't remember what Lee's called it. Was his just called WRRAP?
He's got 2 accounts, though. He's got 2.
Well, he's got one that he hasn't used.
I know. I don't know what's going on with Lee. I don't know what he's up to.
No surprise to anyone. Carwyn is in 45th. Carwyn Hallett, that is. So, look, brilliant for people who climbed up. Fair play. You guys are sorting it, to be honest. It's closer than I thought it was going to be. Really close. But we've got a week off now. We'll see what injuries come out. We'll see, who's playing Italy, which I believe is Scotland play Italy. Am I right? Or France? I think it's France, Italy. It's France,
I'll need to
Italy
double
next.
check.
No,
I want to say it's Calcutta Cup next.
no, yeah, it might be. Yeah, it would be.
It's Calcutta Cup. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be some interesting player combinations because I go all Irish, as many Irish as I can.
No, so it's Ireland, Wales, it's Scotland, England, and France, Italy. That's the next round. Yeah.
Go heavy on Ireland and France. That's my top tip.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Thank
fantasy
you.
roundup.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, James. Okay, then. So let's talk URC. URC is back. The Welsh regions are in action this weekend, and it starts on Friday night, where we got Scarlets taking on Munster. This is a 7:35 p.m. kickoff. This game is live on BBC Two Wales, as well as Viaplay Sports. Now, Lee is not with us tonight, but James is our West Wales correspondent. Do you want to give a quick preview about this game and how you see it going? Don't do your prediction yet. Just an overview.
So Munster released this week Conor Murray, Ollie Jaeger, and another person are available for selection.
Okay.
I want to. They do have a bit of a lengthy injury list. Zebo's out. If you to get the Munster news, follow Kaylin S Rugby on Twitter, who's fantastic. Harley's appeared on the show with Patricia. But this is going to be a tough test for a Scarlets team that are depleted of confidence, everything. So, Cian Hurley, so this is what they talked about earlier. Cian Hurley returned to full training. Conor Murray, Jeremy Loughman, and Ollie Jaeger have been released from international duty. So it looks like Conor Murray looks like he'll start against Scarlets. Ollie Jaeger's good scrummager, good player. We'll expect him to start. And from a Scarlets point of view, Harley, how many injuries were we looking at on the weekend? Was Scott Williams came off?
Well, Sam O'Connor went off. Scott Williams went off. I think that might have just been HLA though, and then there were a few who I don't know if it was just a case of it's a friendly. We're not making people run off injuries. If you're looking ropey, you're off.
Yeah, you're looking at.
But it was not really many of the others. Eddie James had a bit of a run out. He looked fine, so it looks like he's probably gonna be back. But you can have Foxy.
It all depends on who Scarlets get released.
I'm not sure. Maybe
Joe
Hardy?
Roberts is probably the top one. Maybe Hardy.
Hardy Roberts.
So you're looking at like you can make a tidy backline if you're looking at like an Archie. If Hardy's released, you got Hardy, Twickenham, Eddie James, Joe Roberts, Tommy Lewis,
Combia.
Actually
right.
Johan Nicholas at fullback.
Tom Rogers.
Then you've got
might be
Tom Rogers. Yeah, Tom Rogers I think will be released as well. You've then got in the pack. You've got Fafita to come back in, Lousy. McLeod's in a moon boot, so probably won't see him for the rest of the season. It'll be a tough test. Munster will just they'll have to. I think it'll be very similar to the Edinburgh game in Europe. They might throw a few phases to get Scarlets, but ultimately they'll be battered up front, and the life sucked out of them.
Okay, thank you for that. So then on Saturday tea time, we got Cardiff hosting Connacht at 5:15. That's a nice kickoff time, isn't it? 5:15. I quite like that kickoff time. So this game is also, well, no further comment. 5:15 kickoff, as I said, and the game is live on S4C. Now, Harley, I know you enjoy this fixture, don't you? You like Cardiff Connacht. So what are your thoughts heading into this one? So with Cardiff, they got 11 players away with Wales. Do you think they'll have enough to overcome Connacht?
This is the problem. Like, if you think of all the players who've played best for Cardiff this season, you're looking at Alex Mann and Cam Winnett and Domachowski and Azarati, and you're just like, fuck, we're not getting any of them back. I said I do love this game. I don't care what the Anglo-Welsh horde tell me. Like, I think it is a rivalry because Cardiff Connacht games are always have something going on and they're always a niggle. I'd have rather it not be in the Six Nations because they're losing Beelum and Aki, who get rested for Ireland because of Ireland duty all the time, and we've literally lost the vast majority of our pack. Maybe we might see a Teddy Williams back, but I doubt it if Rowlands and Jenkins are going out, unless Gatland thinks there's no point running much. Seb Davis, again, maybe, but again, probably not if he was a travelling reserve with the squad even beforehand. I think it's going to be a tough one. It's good that we got Thomas Young and Ellis Jenkins back from their injuries back a while back. I think we're going to be very like back three. Jacob Beatham's going to cover 15 will do great, but like Kibangu's still out. So, and I'm not sure when Alex Summerhill's fully back. Then we've got Owen Lane. And James has made his feelings on him perfectly clear on his pods about Owen Lane.
Yeah.
I'd say the positions.
Luke Morgan with more weight on him.
Yeah. I mean, we're all right with. I mean, we'll be all right at scrum half because I think Ellis Bevan, when he has been called up, when he has been starting and running the game, he's been excellent. We've still got Tina Sabia, who again is, been excellent. Is our main jack. I think he's our top turnover. Got our top turnovers at the moment, so it's going to be a hard one. I can't see. I'm optimistically predicting we'll win by one in the sort of Lee style.
Right,
by
okay.
one,
Well, we'll come on to the predictions later. Right, okay. So, thank you for that. And then later, at 7:35, we have Dragons away to Glasgow. That game is also live on S4C. So, we did a preview of this game on the Dragons Layer Pod last night with Ian Hay from the Scottish Rugby Pod. It's fair to say that he's pretty confident. He told us he's expecting Glasgow to put 40, 50 points on us, which, to be fair, is very hard to argue against. It will be interesting to see if Scotland release any players to Glasgow, because I raised the point last night that when we had Glasgow down here at Ronnie Parade, we played them during the Six Nations. We didn't have any players released from Wales. Glasgow had 6 released from the Scotland squad, and that gave him a massive advantage. And Fraser Brown was one of those players, along with Dempsey, etc. He ended up getting man of the match, Fraser Brown. So I am fully expecting Glasgow to have some of their players back. Johnny Matthews, who is a try machine, I guarantee you that he'll go back into the squad because, as Ian said last night, he hasn't played a minute. Has he for Scotland? He said so.
Tooney doesn't like him at all.
No,
doesn't rate him.
He's scoring tries for fun in the URC, but maybe just doesn't think he can step up to international rugby. I don't know what it is, but at URC level, this guy is shit hot and he knows where the try line is. So I don't expect Dragons to have any players. I mean, it'd be nice if we had Kai Evans back, but I can't see it. I think for me, from a Dragons point of view, it all depends what players that we have available to us in regards of coming back from injury. So I spoke to Angus O'Brien at the Sharks game. He told me that he should be back for the Glasgow game, which is a big boost to have him back. Dan Lydiard and Harry Keddy should be available from their injuries. I've been told that Gonzalo Bertranu is battling to be fit for this game, so he could be in contention. Lloyd Fairbrother is struggling with a calf injury, so he's touch and go. But if we could get those guys back, if we can get O'Brien, Dan Lydiard, Harry Keddy, Bertranu, that will make a difference. But I'm expecting another painful evening at Scotstoun.
Don't be surprised if Harry Ackerman's in that squad as well, by the way.
Oh, he won't be. No, I think he will be a regular now going forward because Dave Flanagan has spoken a lot over the past couple of weeks about giving youth more opportunity. So I think we'll see him. Ryan Woodman is unfortunately unavailable because he's injured. I think we'll see the likes of Joe Westwood as well playing more. But
because
I think
Ackerman and Morse, who are like the elder statesmen of that squad in the under-20s, are going back to their clubs.
Oh, they are
for the fallow weeks. So don't be surprised if you, as a Dragons fan, if you're thinking that he won't be released, because under-20s generally don't get released back to their clubs.
No,
I think you might see Ackerman back in the squad.
Okay. Yeah, I did hear that as well, that we may get some players released back to closer in the 20s. But I'm not coming into this with any high hopes. Like, Scotstoun is a very difficult place to go, regardless of where you are in the league. They're third at the moment. We're second from bottom. It's going to be a very tough evening, I predicted. For me now, I'm just at that stage with the Dragons. I know it's a cop-out. I know it's a cliche, but these next two games, we got Glasgow away and Ulster away. We're not going to win those games. This becomes about performance now. This becomes about fronting up, putting in a good performance and trying to get something out of it. If we can get a try bonus point or a losing bonus point, that's a good result. But it's going to be very difficult for the Dragons in this period. But if you are going to play Glasgow, it's probably better to play them in the Six Nations period, isn't it? Rather than when they're fully loaded. So, we'll have to see how the Dragons go. I'm fearful for them, I'll be honest. But, we'll just have to see how that game pans out. Then on Sunday, Ospreys, they're hosting Ulster at the Swansea.com Stadium. So that game is live on Fireplay Sports. That's not on S4C or free-to-air TV. Will you have your South African players available for this game, James, do you think? Do you see those cheetah players coming straight into the squad? You do, dear. So how do you feel about this?
I don't see them coming. I think they'll be available for selection. I think that if Owen Watkin, because obviously we've only got 4 players in the squad, right? Beard, North, and Gareth Thomas have not got released back. I'm sorry, they are 3 starters in the Wales team. Owen Watkin gets released back. I think we won't see Ivadi Bossoff because he goes straight into the team with Keith. In terms of second row and 8, I got a message through, Robbie got a message through and he's relayed this back to me, that Nicky Smith, Tipperick, Rhys Davis and Morgan Morris are all back this weekend.
That'll be a big boost. That'll be a
Morgan
massive
Morris
boost,
is the only one who's touch and go, but the others are expected to be okay. So Morris is probably battling probably a late fitness test, if I'm honest. I did speak to Morgan Morris. I did speak to Morgan Morris a few weeks ago, who said that injury club is getting smaller and they do expect people to be back for the Ulster game. Yestin has confirmed to me that Morse is back training with the Ospreys this week. So Morse is more than likely going to be available. So I don't think the boys were back training today fully. I know a lot of the injured lads were, because Nagy, Jack Regan and Gareth Phillips are running fitness stuff. So if we get them players back, again, Ireland don't like releasing players back really. I'm trying to think who Ulster-wise they'll give back.
Tommy Stewart? The
maybe it's Tom Stewart, maybe a Tom O'Toole.
Maybe not switch Tom. Well, maybe because they released Lockman, didn't they? So it might be the third choice.
I've gone again.
Ian Henson's probably going to stay with the squad.
And I got no idea who's gone with Ulster for the.
It'd probably be Tom. You'd think Tom O'Toole would probably come back because I think because he only played against the Italy game and he's probably not going to house third on them, beat them for the big games. And then I said I think it's Tom Stewart, the other hooker, who also replaced Rob Herring. I don't think they'll because so I think they're the 2 big ones. But then Ulster don't really lose that many.
No, it feels like they've had a stuttering season, Ulster. But then looking at the table, they are in the top 5.
Sorry, I'm back now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we beat Ulster. We go ahead of them in the table, which is nice. Ulster at home is a very tricky one. It's always been a bit of banana skin. It's always been very close. I don't see, like I said, it all depends who they get back. If we do have Nicky Tips, Rhys Davis, Morgan Morris, Morgan Morse, and the addition of these South African lads coming in, I think we'll see Victor Sekate in the second row rather than Dare Winsboy. I'm not saying I'm confident of a win. I'm saying I'm confident that we can go out with a performance that could lead to a win at home. I hope there's a Q&A with Lance Bradley before the game regarding the stadium, and people are going to ask questions about the Anglo-Welsh League. It's not happening. Get over it. I'm sorry. It was a lot of conversation about last night. It's not happening unless England are on their knees begging to get into the URC. I'm sorry. It's just not. I'd love an Anglo-Welsh League being based near, semi-near Premiership teams, but it's just not happening. So please go and turn up. It's not on free-to-air TV. It's on Viaplay. Yeah, I won't do my prediction. I'll let you come on to them, Jamie.
Yeah, I was just about to say, saw a tweet from Lance Bradley last night, and he's saying that it looks like they're only going to get 3,000 people there for this fixture, which is pretty disappointing, isn't it?
I mean, he could be, putting the sword in there.
Oh, you think? Okay, yeah.
I'm in two minds about that one, but no, it very much could be with how well the Sale game is selling for European Knockout, that's on course to be a sellout. It's disappointing that we can't get 3 p.m. on a Sunday, which is not a bad kickoff time, by the way. 3 p.m. on a Sunday is not awful.
No, no, not at all.
And Ospreys fans are the worst for excuses. I say that as a person who's not there himself, because of an excuse. But of like, the kickoff time's bad, or the price is too expensive. He's right. We are the cheapest tickets. Unfortunately, if we want a new stadium or to develop a stadium existing already, there's got to be the demand for it. And hopefully we just boys just got to keep going on, keep winning, and it will come back, I think.
Right, okay then, thank you for that. So let's wrap this up then with our predictions. So Scarlets Munster, James, what are you going to say for this one?
Munster by 17.
Oosh. Okay, Harley?
I've gone for Munster by 12.
Okay, I'm going to go for Munster by 9. Cardiff Connacht, what are you saying for this one, Harley?
I'm very optimistically going Cardiff by 1, but I think it's going to be a long shot. That is also approaching the sellouts as well. But knowing the way it's filled up, I know for a fact if Cardiff are going to give away free tickets to youth groups, which they were promoting, it tends to be that northwest block.
I've kept my mouth shut.
There's been a lot of pushing tickets for that one.
I've kept my mouth shut.
Because let's be fair, no one would voluntarily go to the North Stand.
Right, okay. So what was your prediction? Do you say Cardiff by 1?
Cardiff by 1, yeah, I'm filling in the sheet, by the way.
Oh, lovely. Okay, great. James, Cardiff Connacht, how do you see this one going?
I've changed it as I was right now. I'm going Cardiff by 4.
Cardiff by 4? Okay, that's interesting.
I just think the home. I say it every time. Cardiff Arms Park, jammy bastards.
Yeah. It's not jammy. We just the people in the real entertainment business, and fortunately, it's more like an EastEnders episode.
Yeah, they'll score lots of sexy tries, and then concede 3 pushover tries to Jared Butler.
Okay. I'm going to go Cardiff by 6 because I just think Cardiff have lost a lot of players to Wales. I think they're really going to miss the likes of Man when it does Harley mentioned earlier. So I go with Cardiff by 6. And then Glasgow Dragons. So on the Dragons pod last night, I predicted Glasgow by 17, but I actually think it could be more, depending on the makeup of the teams. But I've gone for 17. So James, how do you see this one going?
It's going to be a Glasgow win, unfortunately. I'm going to go Glasgow by 14, but only because Dragons will inexplicably score like 4 tries and Glasgow will have to score like 6. If that makes sense, they'll just be. I think this has the potential to be a really high-scoring game. But yeah, Glasgow by 14. Scotland's an awful place to go.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's a proper fortress. Harley, Glasgow Dragons.
Glasgow with 24. Basically after listening to your pod with Ian here, I think 24 is probably about right where the relative strengths of the squads are.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. And then finishing up there with Ospreys, Ulster. James?
Ospreys by 8.
Yeah.
I do. I think if all them players come back, I think that it'll be a Ospreys by 8. I just want to see Justin Tipuric back. I've missed him. He's been on a podcast this week. Really? Justin Tipuric was on a podcast. He was on that Ben Youngs one. Do
you want to try and get him on the Ospreys Ivory then? Get him signed up?
No, because he'll tell embarrassing stories about me. As a 16-year-old. No, thank you.
I want him on
that
now.
Sounds like all the more reason. I might see if he'll come in Cardiff just for that one then.
Yeah, no. He's trying to get hold of him. It's like smoke signals, that man. But no, Ospreys by 8.
Okay. Harley,
Boys, what are you
Ospreys,
going to go?
Ulster?
I'm going again, as James pointed out. It's quite a bogey one for James, and Ulster don't lose that many players, and the chances are the players they have lost they'll get back. So I'm going to go for a much narrower Ospreys by 2, just purely because I think the boost of having those players coming back, I think it's going to be enough for Boothball to get over the line with some very boring lucky tries.
Whoa.
You've scored more tries by accident than you have on purpose this season.
I'm not getting into this argument again.
Right, okay. I'm going to go Ospreys by 6. I just got a feeling. Home advantage. If you do get those players back, like Tibrick, etc., that's a big boost. And yeah, I'm going for Ospreys there on that one. I think that's it,
predictions for Lee.
Oh,
let him fill his own in.
He didn't submit his
Scarlets by 24. Ospreys.
He'll do Scarlets by
Stadium,
1.
Osprey Stadium to get bombed halfway through, like in The Dark Knight Rises.
Dragons by 12.
It'll depend on the weather.
Yeah.
Don't forget the weather when you like saying that, doesn't he? Depends on the
Dragons
weather.
by 12.
Dragons by 12.
Who else?
Cardiff by 30, but the game called off after 60 minutes when, the checkbooks start overflowing in the stadium.
Yeah, God.
I have absolutely no doubt he would say Scarlets by 1. I don't know why he'd say for the rest. He predicted an Ospreys loss. He probably predicted a Cardiff win. He'd probably say Dragons by 5 just to piss me off. But he would certainly say Scarlets by 1 is what I'm guessing. So, yeah. Okay, then I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. As always, it's been a pleasure. We will be back next week chatting URC, finding out how our team's gone, and then looking ahead to Ireland v Wales. So until then, we shall speak next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Nosta.